we've discussed this before. If we really bring it back to strength training, and we look at, if you guys were to take a video every single day of my training session, Matt's training session, Alysha's training session, Molly's training session, Lynn's training, right? You get where I'm going with this. You would see very consistent things happening, not just over a month, a year, but like literally since 3 years ago for me, right? Yep. Arriving here on
more than a decade for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. And those exactly. And for myself as well, those same things were happening before I was even here as a coach. Now they became refined when I was coaching here because I was much more focused on this craft, right? Mm-hmm. This became my new craft, but it was important to find something that, because I knew I was going to be here every day, it was important to find something I could count on day in, day out that wouldn't overstrain, right? Overtrain. Sorry, I think that's probably the way I should phrase that. Overtrain, strain me. And then I could count on doing weeks after weeks after weeks, right? And maybe from time to time, things change up a little bit. It's funny. Is this sounding familiar to anybody, by the way? Maybe from month to month or 4 weeks program, things start to change up a little bit. But overall, you tend to see the same big movements happening. And that's because there's a lot of very good, not just, experiential, is that a word? Experiential stuff going on here that like we see results just from ourselves and from others with regards to, I'm going to get specific here, compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, chest presses, rows, these type of movements. But we also see it in the literature too, like these type of movements, compound movements, have a very beneficial effect on the body in many different ways. But it's important to understand that just like the Charmin Ultra, less is more, right? Doesn't always mean you have to compound lifts are great. Cool. I'm going to fill every single day with compound lifts. I'm going to do them when I'm getting stuff out of the refrigerator. No.
Well, you kind of are, right? You're squatting.
Yeah. Now that's not wrong, right? You should be using those lifts in your everyday life, but you shouldn't be 300-pound lifting the orange out of the bottom shelf in your refrigerator. No, you can use other techniques. You can still use a hinge technique to get your oranges out of the refrigerator. But I think the point I'm trying to make here is using those same type of movements and maybe just exposing the body to slightly different things here and there brings us back to this idea of building resilience. And at the end of the day, that's what helps minimize those instances of pain. We're helping build the strength of the joints. The muscles themselves are what are strengthening the joints, right? The tissue surrounding the joints becomes a little bit stronger because it's exposed to different ranges of motion. And we're training those different ranges of motion in different ways at different times. Right? Nick could go on for hours.
Oh, go on for hours, dude. This is great. I'm like sitting back. I'm ready. Should have brought a snack to listen to this. This is good.
But again, one more time, simplifying strength for longevity across the lifespan. If you've found that whatever you're doing, if you're a member here at Bent on Better, or if you're elsewhere and you're listening to this abroad or whatever.
Hold on, if you're listening to this anywhere else, if you're local, you could be coming in here and working with us. And if you're not local, you can be coming here and working with us virtually.
Ping. Yeah, you can work with us virtually. Yeah. We got folks all over the place who do that. I don't think anybody's from different time, what do you call that? Time zones right now?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, we had a few folks who were doing that.
Yeah, 1 hour behind us.
But if you're from a different time zone, you can still do it. We've had people do that before. Anyway, so no matter where you're at, whether you're here or not, I don't want to I don't want to beat a dead horse here. But,
beat a dead horse. Beat it.
Use your experience. Take a step back from what you're actually doing. Try to take a bird's eye view from what you're doing. Look at it and say to yourself, could I do this for another year? Could I do this for 5 more years? Maybe I'm not doing this exact thing in 5 years, but could I do something similar to this in 5 years? Maybe the reps don't look the same. Maybe even the movements don't look exactly the same. It's okay. At the end of the day, though, can you still expect to show up and do something similar, or at least just get moving and commit to that because it's been so beneficial for your health and can continue to be beneficial for your health? And then it gets down to what kind of like what you discovered, where certain things inside, outside of the body, right? They're going to weigh on you different ways. We're talking about stress. We're talking about overtraining. We're talking about getting your diet right. We're talking about getting your mindset right. All those things kind of come as fine tuners. But if you can commit to that, man, the difference you can see. Again, not trying to like toot our own horns, but like across the board, in fitness.
It's important because we're speaking from experience, right? We're not only speaking from having studied the literature and understanding the concepts, but we're applying them, and not only to ourselves, but to hundreds of other adults and athletes. Hundreds of them over the past, again, like for me, it's been a decade of working in the fitness industry. It's been the past almost 7 years having Bent on Better being the hub of where it all happens. But we're not saying this isn't new information, right? Like you can go anywhere and find this stuff out. Be mindful though, and be wary of just doing regular Google researches, because you can look up things on Google of like, should you squat if your knees hurt? And it's gonna be like, no, don't squat if your knees hurt. Or don't lift weights if your knees hurt. But like, good luck going to the grocery store and picking up that 20-pound flour bag that's on the bottom shelf. Like, good luck picking that up without bending your knees if you have hurt knees. Like, that's part of regular life, doing yard work. So instead of thinking of fitness as this vehicle to get you to your goal, which is fine to get started, right? Everyone's got to get started in some way. My goal was to get bigger because I wanted to be a bigger guy. I want to be a little bud. I want to be a big guy, big man. But in that journey, I realized I found myself. I found a passion for fitness. And before I get too far off on my tangent, I want to bring it back and say, you have to go back to what Nick said. You have to be able to look at it and say, can I do that for the next year? Or is this sustainable? Really, a year is too short. Like, we think a year is like so long. Like, when you're getting started, a year is long because it's something new. Yeah. It's something you're not used to, right? I'm looking at the camera as if someone's there, but I'm going to keep looking at you, Nick, because we're having this conversation. I'm going to look at you, maybe look to the camera a little, but really, you should ask yourself, can I do this for the next 10 years, right? Maybe the goal isn't 10 years, but like, can I actually sustain this for 10 years? And that's going to be a great way of understanding if it's actually a short-term thing or a long-term thing. So in terms of diet, right, we're talking about strength training right now, but briefly, in terms of diet, so many people come in here for their nutrition consultations with me and their nutrition coaching with me. When we sit down, we talk about it. We talk about what their current habits are. They've been doing them for years. Right? Their habits have gotten them to where they are because it's sustainable. It's something that's normal. It's what they've been doing. Whether it's waking up and having your coffee right away with 2 sugars and 2 tablespoons of creamer, right? If you're measuring it, even most people aren't even doing that. But is it sustainable for the next 10 years? If it is not, if you found yourself saying no, ask yourself right now. I'm looking at the camera now. I want you to think right now. Think about what you're currently doing with your fitness routine. Is that something that your body will be able to sustain and continue to do for the next 10 years? And if your answer is yes, good. Keep doing that. That's great. You've found something that you enjoy and that you're able to do for the next 10 years. Commit to 10 years. Commit to it. 10 years. I think that's far enough in the future that we can be like, that's a long time.
Yeah, we'll see you in 10 years.
Yeah. Or if you found yourself being like, I don't know, like with your diet, right? People come in here, back to the diet thing. People come in here and tell me that they've been using these nutritional company shakes and meal replacement shakes and things to help them lose some weight in the past. But that's always the key. It's like, I used it in the past to lose weight, and then you gain it right back, right? You gain it right back. So because it's not a long-term sustainable thing. Can you and do you want to sustainably live on a nutrition shake in replace of a meal for the next 10 years? Every day, however consistent you've been doing it to get to the goal you're at right now, can you do that for the next 10 years? If you can, is it sustainable for the next 10 years? Maybe you say like, yeah, I can do it. Like, yeah, I can totally, it's easy. I just put the protein in the thing, shake it up, drink it down, boom, I'm done. But is it sustainable? Like, do you want to continue to do that every single day for 1 meal or 2 meals a day to get to this result, to keep those results that you have?